Good luck with that. At the moment, they're not. Everybody's known about the grid's vulnerability for decades. We've known of an EMP threat ever since the early 60s. That's 10 different administrations sleeping on it, and this one doesn't even care that the power grid is rated a D+. Why? Probably because they won't get any new votes by fixing the grid. They're spending trillions on Obamacare, but not a dime on the power grid. That's why I'm telling you all of this. You have to put yourself and your family first, because nobody else will. That's why you need to start preparing for an EMP now. But the solutions I found left me frustrated. When I realized what my options were, I was absolutely horrified. I was outraged nobody is doing anything about it. And when I found out that the White House is prepared for an EMP themselves, but nothing is done to protect us, the American citizens, I lost it. So finally, I decided to find my own answers. I spent hours in libraries reading books. I watched all the documentaries and interviews I could find. I looked for courses. I talked to all the survival experts I know. I even tried contacting NASA, but I got nothing. Lucky for me, my life was about to change. I almost gave up after spending months poring over research to prepare for an HEMP attack. Most information was useless. I had nowhere else to go. I was about to throw in the towel, but somehow I couldn't. I thought of my kid, and the picture of him living in a dark age was unbearable. I couldn't just give up. He deserves better than that. My last hope was this peculiar professor I found online, Charles Green. He's an ex-college professor, physicist, and prepper, and he's fully aware of the likelihood of an EMP. He knows the devastating consequences compared to a massive hurricane or even an economic meltdown. That's why he became so obsessed with surviving an EMP threat that he took a 2-year sabbatical to live in an Amish community. Let me explain. The Amish are a very unusual religious community. Modern life comfort is irrelevant to them. They live simple lives and maintain traditions that go back over 300 years. They grow their own food for their families. They barely use any electricity, and when they do, it's off the grid. They do this because their religion forbids them to. However, it's their choice, and they prefer a life with no distractions. You see, Charles's obsession drove him to a small Amish community in Pennsylvania. He had only one goal: learn to survive and build a community in a post-EMP world, and the Amish are the closest thing to that. Unfortunately, there's no audio or video recordings of Charles's experiences because the Amish forbid the use of any modern gadgets, so the only recordings are notes Charles took. In his notes, Charles described in vivid details the Amish way of life. He discovered plenty of ways to keep your food from spoiling without a fridge, and a secret Amish use to store heat-sensitive medicine, and surprising places where you can find drinkable water enough to sustain your family for months, even if you live in an arid region. Every talk I had with Charles was eye-opening. I never came across anyone so intelligent, knowledgeable, and devoted to the study of EMP survival. He told me virtually all of us, and this includes seniors and kids, can survive without electricity. The only condition is they need to know what to do when the power goes out. Sure, it wouldn't be a luxurious life or even a comfortable life at first, but your family, your loved ones, and even your entire community can stay alive. I was completely humbled by what Charles was showing me. I thought I knew everything about survival when in fact I was just barely scratching the surface. Here's the good news. Charles showed me secrets few preppers, survival experts, or even people from the military know. In fact, there are many things you can do right that will do wonders for you and your family. I was so amazed and thankful of what Charles taught me. I realized that this information had to be available to every family out there. It took some convincing. Actually, I begged and nagged him for weeks, and he finally agreed to put all his hard-earned secrets into a special program. His only conditions were to remain anonymous and to make this available for as many people as possible. We created a one-of-a-kind course on how to survive an EMP. It doesn't matter whether it's a solar flare or an HEMP bomb. You'll be provided with everything to be 100% prepared. Plus, if you're covered for an EMP, you're covered for virtually any disaster. Why? Because a permanent blackout is one of the toughest survival situations you'll face. In fact, an EMP creates this domino effect that triggers multiple disasters at the same time. A food shortage, an economic collapse, and mass pandemics are inevitable. And Charles's one-of-a-kind package, Darkest Days, How to Survive an EMP Attack to the Grid, actually shows you how to survive all these disasters at once. Charles's program is the only practical guide you'll find on EMP preparedness, and in fact, if you want your family to be safe when an EMP strikes, this is it. It shows you not just how to survive, but also how to flourish after an EMP hits America's reset button, and how to do it all on a tight budget. The truth is, disasters usually happen in the blink of an eye. Who among us could have predicted 9/11? But unlike that tragedy, there has been proof of ISIS power grid attacks against our allies. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The government, FEMA, and the DHS continue to sleep on it. They don't even make an effort to tell people about it. But lucky for people like you and me, Charles reveals every secret to surviving a killer HEMP attack. Here's a glimpse of what Charles's program covers. You'll discover how to assemble a simple device that will shield your electronics from the EMP, and it does the exact same thing as a $1,499 Faraday cage, simply by using common parts lying around in your kitchen and 17 minutes of your time. And I'll show you what 5 vital electronics you need after an EMP strike. Missing out any one of these could mean that your family will struggle with the most essential things, like communications, light, and heat. You'll discover secrets from the Amish on how to prevent your food and medicine from spoiling, even if the fridge is down. You'll also know the 7 must-have food and medicine supplies to have when an EMP happens, and exactly how much to store. You'll also know what first aid preps don't get ruined by age. How to keep your family under the radar when an EMP strikes so that hungry and violent looters won't even notice your presence. How to make sure that your car still runs, even though EMP fries car engine circuits. This is important because if you are planning to bug out without a vehicle, it's almost impossible to travel to a safe spot. And if you don't have a bug out location, I'll show you proven home protection strategies and traps that are guaranteed to keep any looter out of your home. And finally, you'll discover how to keep your appliances running while the entire U.S. power grid is down. There are 3 dirt cheap ways to make your own energy, and each of them guarantees to keep your electric devices running. And believe it or not, there's more. If you get Darkest Days right now, you'll also receive 2 exclusive reports filled with tips and recommendations to help you with your preps. Keep in mind that this offer will later be off the table. First, you'll get Off-Grid Home Protection Systems, a special report on how to defend your home against violent criminals or looters. It shows you how to keep your home safe without any home protection systems and without any use of electric power. You will find out what are the best dog breeds in case of a disaster. And even though it may sound surprising, this guide explains how you can actually protect your home by planting defensive bushes. And in some cases it works even better than a $250 alarm system. And second, you'll get How to Make Your Own Pharmacy, the ultimate guide to survival medicine. A special report that will show you the natural treatment alternatives for a time when no doctors will be around. You'll know what natural remedies you can use, and you'll be able to find them with ease. You'll also find out how to prepare them quickly and the best ways to store them. Plus, when you get Darkest Days, How to Survive an EMP Attack to the Grid, besides both of these bonuses, you'll also be getting unlimited access to the members area, where you can ask Charles and I anything at any time. We will be there